I gotta calibrate. Oh, I got my TV working. And they fixed my screen tilt.
Oh,
They did. I don't even know how they knew about it because I didn't even put a work order in. They were like, someone put in a work order for it. I'm like, it wasn't me. Maybe it was a kid. It bugged them so much that they just had to tell the office. Okay. Moving forward, let's go ahead and look at our first two problems. So for this second one, keep in mind that V with that line 8 also looks like this, because I know that sometimes confuses us. So go ahead and work these two out. Van a hacer estos dos problemas en casa. Aseguren que yo vea lo que hicieron en la pantalla. Esto es repaso de ayer. Review from yesterday. I want to see what we remember, what we need to go back over. Okay, hold on. Then you have a number next to the variable. What does that mean? Okay. If you forget your inverse, it's like a pop in the corner. It was one subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay. Ya se te olvidó, revisa tus notas. Ayer dijimos. Aquí está. ¿Dónde le voy a poner esto? ¿Se quedó? Gotta make sure I'm not missing somebody's message. Okay, so let's look at the first one. So we start by putting that line down the equal sign. Don't forget, and it's not wrong to put your inverses up in a corner. What the heck happened? To put your inverse operations in a corner. If you need them, you need them. When you have a number next to a variable, what's happening? Multiplication. So what is the inverse of multiplication? Division. So make sure you're either putting that line under that says division, or you're putting the division sign. So 10 divided by 10 gives us what? 1. So I'm going to cross that out and bring down my n. What is 40 divided by 10? 4. So n equals 4. So for this second one, when you have a variable over a number, what does that mean is happening? Division. So what is the inverse of division? Multiplication. So I'm going to put my little multiplication sign. You can either put that X or you can put a dot. Whichever one works for you. Sometimes it might be easier to put the dot just because if you put the X, you might mistake that later with your variable. And then you do it on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. Bring down my V. What is 2 times 8? 16. Remember, you can always go back and check your work by plugging in your answer to your variable. So I can do 16 over 8 equals 2. What is 16 divided by 8? 2. So does it equal 2? Yes. So my answer is right. So if you got something else, you can plug it in just to make sure. Okay, so those of you at home, en casa, asegúrense que entreguen su pantalla aunque no hayan terminado. Ruby Jr. Carlos, Jesus, Yvonne, William, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, go ahead and do these next two. Remember, you always start by setting it up with that line down the middle. Cuando tienes un número al lado de la letra, significa que está multiplicando. ¿Qué es lo opuesto de multiplicación? I'm really happy about how everybody's doing. You guys are doing a nice job. I'm not seeing what you're talking about. You're doing really good. Awesome. Every time I come up to her, I have to ask her, can I write it? Oh no, it's truly really close. You go, no, that's me. Like you did the other one, right? Like I would assume you do this one now. But the one that you keep that on are these. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that first one. Line through the middle. Once we get like going, I always forget to put that line in the middle. So when you have a number next to a variable, what's happening? Multiplication. What's the inverse? Division. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 6 on both sides. This is going to cross out because it gives me 1. I bring down my x. What's 27 divided by 6? 4.5. Next one, you have the x over the 3. So what's happening there? So what's the inverse? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. I bring down that x. What's 4.5 times 3? 13.5. Make sure you submitted what you have on your screen. At home, you too, make sure you've submitted what you have on your screen. And I'm going to go ahead and erase in a second. Submit, Marisol, Yair. I like seeing the green. William, Carlos, Yvonne, I'm about to bump you out because I don't see anything happening on there. Okay, this problem, write it in your notebooks. All the words. You want to have an example. I did a mix. Because I keep top and right and the two stuff, I wanted to get at least a little taste of word problem. And our faster to do them. Those of you at home, make sure you're writing that problem down in your notebook. Asegúrense que estén escribiendo este problema entero en su libreta. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it. And just like any other word problem that we do, we're going to read it twice. Now, the difference between the word problems that we are used to seeing and these is that with these, we're going to kind of build an equation with it. So all those equations we've been seeing, now we're going to write one based off of the word problem. So it says, Lisa is cooking muffins. The recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar. She has already put in 2 cups. How many more cups does she need to put in? So I want you to kind of think about it. Don't think about it as Lisa, but if you were doing this, okay, you're cooking some muffins or you're cooking something. The recipe that you're cooking calls for 7 cups of sugar. she has already put in 2 cups of sugar. So she's already put in 2 cups. So you already put in 2 cups of whatever it is that you're doing. How many more does she need? So I'm going to start by doing something super easy. I know it's going to be an equation. I'm going to put my equal sign. I know there's going to be something that equals something else, right? So if it says the recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar, what is that telling me? 7 cups total? So I'm going to go ahead and put that 7 as my total. I know that something is going to equal 7, right? So I'm going to keep reading. She already put in 2 cups of her mix. So if I know my total 7, then I know 2 is going to go on which side? The other side, right? I'm going to put 2 on the other side somewhere. I'm not going to put it in yet. How many more cups does she need? So thinking about it, I want you to kind of write on your paper what you think this second side is going to look like. She already has 2, and she needs some more to make 7. 2 and something else to make 7. What could that look like? I want to see you underlining. I want to see you trying to write out the rest of that equation.
We don't know. But you can work backwards. But it would look like. Right? Right. Because you gotta create the equation. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some people who've got it. And it's okay if you weren't sure. This is our first one. I want to see what you're thinking. So we know that she already has 2 cups. So the most important part, and I still didn't see this part written down on people's paper. So even if you couldn't figure out what the rest of it is, you should have at least written this part down. She already put 2 cups in. So if I'm cooking my bowl of stuff, I already have 2 in my bowl. I need to put more in. So I'm not going to be adding more in or taking some out. I'm going to be adding some more in. Do I know how much I'm adding in? No, I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and put X. If you used a different variable, it doesn't matter. You could have used M. You could have used C. I usually use X, but sometimes I'll use the letters that have to do with what we're doing. So 2 plus X equals 7. Now I had some people that worked backwards. That's okay. That means you understood what you were supposed to be doing. But ultimately, I do want to kind of see an equation. So even if you work from your answer back to your equation, I want to see what you have. So now I can work it out. Now it's simple, right? I have my equation. I'm done. So I have addition. What's my inverse? Subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. What is 7 minus 2? 5. So she still needs to put in 5 more cups in order to make a total of 7. Let's look at another one. So keep in mind, we're not just going to be looking at addition and subtraction. We've already done addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division this week. So we're going to be able to see all of that in here. So this next one says, at a restaurant, Mike and his 3 friends decided to divide the bill evenly. If each person paid $13, then what was the total bill? So I'm going to go ahead and underline. At a restaurant, Mike and his 3 friends. So I'm going to start with that piece. And I want to make sure I focus on that for a second. Mike and his 3 friends. How many people total are splitting that bill? 4. Because it's Mike and his 3 friends. So is Mike not counting himself? Yes, he is. So there are 4 total people. And I want to focus on that because every time I give someone a word problem that has something like Sally and her 2 friends, Bill and his 1 friend, you always forget to count yourself. So it's 4. They decided to divide the bill evenly. Look, it's even kind of telling you what you might be doing. If each person paid $13, what is the total bill? So again, I'm starting with that equal sign. You're starting with that equal sign. So we know Mike and his 3 friends divided the bill evenly. If each person paid 13. So how much did each person pay?
13.
Each person paid $13. What do you mean you don't know?
Oh.
Each person paid $13. Our goal is to figure out our total bill. But we know how much each person paid. Now I got to figure out how to figure out what they did. But the good thing is that it kind of tells us in there. Mike and his 3 friends decided to divide the bill evenly. So what am I looking at doing? Division. So I need to figure out what number divided by what number, right? Would I be dividing 4 by the bill? Would that make sense? No. It would make sense to divide the bill by the 4 people, right? But do I know my whole bill? So what could I put in place of that number? A variable. What variable? Yeah, let's use a B. Let's use a B. So I'm dividing my total bill by what? By 4. Because 4 people split the bill. Go ahead and solve to figure out how much their total bill was. Yeah.
You have to, when it is work, you have to have it. So you should basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know they shared it, but they didn't get everybody, and then they started CCing people, and they still didn't get everybody. So I was like, oh, they CCing you guys on there.
Right.
But I don't remember who everybody else that they missed was.
Sometimes you'll see it when you talking about the one that you want.
Yes, that
So this
well,
one is
that's
B line, right?
yes, and that's the same one that popped up on mine. So yes. Okay, good. So this is division. What's the inverse? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 4 Bring down my B. Multiply the other side by 4. What's 13 times 4? 52. So the total bill was 52. If I want to check, then I know 52 divided by 4. What would that give me? It would give me 13, which is the same answer. So I did it right. Okay, I want you to go ahead and read this one. I want you to underline important information, and I want you to give it a try. Try it on your own. So start by underlining what's important in that word problem. What information am I going to use? Once you've underlined, then start by writing that equal sign. And then you're going to go ahead and start balancing that equation. How much total are they going to spend on diapers? That should go on one side. Then think about it. One package costs 8. Do I know how many packages make up to $40? So what can I do with 8 and how many packages to figure out $40?
We're gonna get them to do whatever they Where is the question? Yes, you're right.
No.
Oh, you gotta do it on Kindle. Yeah, the word. Diabetes. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. So I'm not, you gotta think about it. Are we gonna go buy one package by $8 to get 40? Or would you do $8 per package to get 40? Per package.
Okay, so how many packages of diapers can you buy with $40 if one costs $8? So I know my total is $40. And I know one package costs $8, right? So my question is, how am I going to go about figuring out what else I do on this side? Well, you gotta ask yourself a couple questions. It says one package is 8. If I have 8, is that gonna give me 40? And that's only one package, right? If I had 2 packages, would that give me 40? If I had 3 packages, would it give me 40? If I had 4 packages, would it give me 40? If I had 5 packages, would it give me 40? Well, I know this is going to give me 40, but I got to write this as an equation, right? So I would have to do $8 per package. And the only way I can write per package is by doing what kind of problem? Multiplication problem. So I would do 8x equals 40. Because if I were to do x plus 8, that means I'm doing a package plus $8. Does that make sense? No, because first of all, I know one package is 8, so you're just doing 8 plus 8. If I did x minus 8, same thing. You're telling me I'm subtracting one package from another. If I did package over 8, would that make sense? You're dividing one package by a package. So you've got to be careful with that. Yeah, think about it. Is it hot in here?
Yeah.
Or is it just me? I'm like, because I know this sweater.
It's less hot than yesterday.
Because I know this sweater's thick, but dang. Okay, next one. I'm going to read it. You're going to underline and you're going to solve. Alex made brownies for his class. He tripled the recipe he normally uses. If he made 36 brownies for his class, how many brownies does his original recipe make? Underline important information. Don't underline something that you're not going to use. So Alex made brownies for his class. That's not important. He tripled the recipe. Well, tripling the recipe is important. How many brownies he made is also important. Huh? Are we looking for how many people are in the class? No, we're looking at how much one of his recipes made. But we know that he tripled his recipe. Triple? Like he multiplied it by 3. Like if I said quadruple, it would be.
Of course it was that.
If I doubled it, what does that mean? Twice.
A variable, right?
So triple might be one of those two words.
Yeah, for the wrong, just, I'm gonna write it like that. So it's 3 times.
Triple and double are definitely words.
Right, however, when the right answer part is equals, the whole reason you stop using x is because they use x for variables all the time. So when they're right next to each other, so that's the way that we have to show it. Okay, otherwise it looks like
Okay.
next to which later on.
What happened? That was right. Okay, yeah. Because
Still
here,
x
was a lot. Yeah. Because x was his original from the recipe, right? But x doesn't equal 36. So that triple the recipe.
Okay.
So like, you did that, that's right. Okay.
You can only do it like this. But if you do it like this, it will.
Yeah, like you have two variables.
Yeah, like you have 2 minutes. So do it like this. Okay? You don't need to put, you do not need to put the one line, because it means the same thing, it means that's multiply. Okay? Because that's what confused me up here. when you were doing the other problems, you have the same thing. I have to.
But like when you guys are confused about a word, don't just stay confused about the word. Ask about the word. Like, because I might not tell you what it means. I don't not tell you what it means because I'm trying to be mean. I might just assume that you know what it means. So when you don't know what it means, you got to ask me. Again, I'm not going to like be mad at you for it. I'd rather know that you're confused. So Alex made brownies for his class. Again, that's not important. He tripled the recipe he normally uses. If he made 36 brownies for his class, how many brownies does his original recipe make? And like, I'm just gonna bring up stuff that we talked about. So the question here at the end tells you what you're looking for. So it says, how many brownies does his original recipe make? It's not asking you, how many brownies does he need for his class? How many kids are in his class? If it doesn't say that as your question, then that's not what you're looking for. That means it's not important. I know his now recipe makes 36 brownies. He tripled the recipe. Tripled means 3 times. And like I was telling you guys back there, words like triple and double are words you're going to see a lot with these problems. So like if you see double, that would mean 2 times. You're not going to see quadrupled or things like that as often. So with it saying he tripled the recipe, I know that his recipe is represented by X, his original recipe. But his original recipe does not equal 36 brownies, right? Yes or no? No. The triple of the recipe equals 36. So how would I then write it? 3x. Because he tripled his original recipe. So now I can solve to figure it out. So this right here, like we said, means multiplication. So what's the inverse? Division. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3 on both sides. This gives me 1, so I bring down my x. And 36 divided by 3 gives me 12. So his original recipe only gave him 12 brownies, which is not bad. I'm sure if he cut each brownie in half, they would be smaller, but they'd be more. Okay, so go ahead and move to your classwork. If you have questions on your classwork, please ask, because I know today we have word problems. Same for people at home. If you need help, ask, type it in the chat, say it out loud.